Hey guys, how you doing? Ron's a Nut here. Well, today I've got a review for you on a couple of fans. These are the Noctua NF-S12A Flx Fans and the CoolerMaster JetFlo 120s. A few of you guys have been asking me on Facebook and on YouTube to review some of these fans, so I asked our friends over at Performance PCs, and they were kind enough to send a couple sets over so that I could do some, introduce you to them, do an unboxing and close-up look, and then as you know, I like to do some real-world testing on radiators in a water cooling setup to see how they perform. And I'll take you through that, but up first, let's take a close look at the fans and see what they look like. Let's take a look at the CoolerMaster JetFlo 120 packaging. So on the front of the box we have a picture of the fan, and they're highlighting the high airflow at 95 CFM, noise absorbing pads and silent mode adapters, and we'll take a look at those inside the packaging. And on the back of the box, in different languages, again, they talk about those same features, and then of course they provide the specifications. And I'll put the specs up on the screen here so you can see them a lot better when we show you the fan. And CoolerMaster has also updated their packaging, and you can do one of those open front flaps here, and the front of the packaging has some information on their CFM again, their bearings, then a couple of graphics talking about air pressure and airflow and noise versus fan speed. And then on the right hand side they have some cutout views that highlight the rubber pads they have on the corners of their fans, and we'll take a closer look at, and then also the motor. So inside the box we have the JetFlo 120 fan itself. We get 4 threaded screws, and we have 2 silent noise adapters. This one here says silent mode adapter 19 decibels at 1200 RPM. So that's what you'll get if you use that in line. And then this one is silent mode adapter 28 decibels at 1600 RPM. So basically these guys reduce the fan speed from 2000 down to 1600 and 1200 with those noise adapters. Let's get a closer look now at the fan. Now looking at the CoolerMaster fan, we have an all black frame body with smoke blades. It is all one solid piece, and you can see the 4 corners here. Each of the corners are secured in, so the mounting points are separate from the fan itself. The fan comes with a 12-inch lead, nicely sleeved. And one of the things that I got to tell you I love that they did is all black wires. I can't tell you how much my pet peeve is having these fans with all their beautiful colors and then seeing this length of fan wire in red, black, and yellow, or green, or whatever it is they have used in many other fans. But CoolerMaster did it right, in my opinion. I liked it when they did that. One of the things to note when we are looking at the accessories is the screws. These are threaded inserts here that are all the way through. So, and again, they give you some screws, but they're small ones for case mounting. And of course, if you're going to use it in a radio, you're going to have to use the right thread. So when I go to hook this up later, I'll tell you what the threads of those inserts are. I don't see the information here on the packaging. The fan blade is a 7-blade design. Because again, I said it was a smoke blade, and you'll notice there's bands on these. I don't know if you can see that, but there are some dark raised molded bands on the end of each of the blades. Now CoolerMaster says this is an advanced blade design. It's based on turboprop engines, so it's one of their most efficient, or it is their most efficient design to date, and to provide excellent performance to noise ratio. Alright, and then the motor here is a high efficiency motor with a low starting voltage, and it is pretty resilient. I mean, this fan is pretty solid. You can feel there's some heft to this fan. I do like it. I like the design, and it feels pretty solid. And again, all of these separate corner pieces that are mounted, these are all rubber coated. So when it touches your case, the lip here is rubber. And on the back, it doesn't have the raised thing, but the insert sets down, and this also is rubber here as well. So And now, although this is the black or the dark version, there is also a red, a blue, and a white version that also have LEDs, and the LEDs are colored accordingly with each of the fans, red, blue, and white. I'll put up the specifications here so that you can see the specs for the fan. Okay, real quick note on the JetFlo 120s, the thread for these inserts are M5, so you can see here that they're pretty thick. All right, that's an M5 diameter screw, and here I have a 632 screw that I use for my radiator, and as you can see, it it cleanly slides all the way through. So that was one of the things I was actually thinking about when doing the review is, okay, these are threaded, how am I going to be able to secure it to my radiator? Well, they thought of that by providing some quite thick screws. So to mount to your case, not a problem using their screws or any other M5, but as long as you have your radiator requires, and sometimes M4s or M3s or 632 screws, not a problem. They will slide right through, as you can see here, and then secure to your radiator. Okay, just a quick update before we get on with testing. Next up here we have the Noctua NF-S12A Flx Fans, and here's a shot of the packaging, the front of the packaging, highlighting some of their new feature designs. Now remember, for Noctua, this is their third generation of these fans. They've been coming out for quite a while in their their unique color scheme. But on the front of the packaging, again, just talking about some of the features they have, these anti-stall knobs, which are these little features here, and we'll take a closer look at those. The frame, their inlet design, not sure what the smooth commutation drive 2 is. I guess that's about the motor. 3 speed settings, and their cabling and bearing. And on the back of the packaging, just in multiple languages, they talk about, again, that it's the third generation and they've improved it. And then you have some specs in the table, and I'll put that up for easier viewing when I show you the fan. Now Noctua also has this design where you get the packaging design where you to give you a glimpse on the inside of the fan. And also on the left hand side here, they talk about their anti-stall knobs, which are little knobs that are on the fan blades. They also have a 7 fan blade design. And there's a bunch of specs here and some graphs that talk about their performance and the benefit of these stall knobs. And again, on the right hand side here, you have a clear shot of the fan itself, and it also lists each of the individual pieces that come with the fan. And I'm going to take it out of the box and we'll get a close-up look at those now. Alright, now looking close up at the fan, we have the black sleeved lead coming off of that. That's about 8 inches long, and that's a nice job there. They've always done that with their fans. The fan itself is a 7-blade design, and one of the things that they highlight on the packaging, and they talk a lot about, that contributes to the overall 8% increase in performance over their last generation fan, is these little nubs. You see these 3 nubs. There's spaced 2 at the end and 1 on the inside on each of the fan blades, and those are the anti-stall knobs. They just state that it's even more flexible than its predecessor, so it performs a little bit better, especially with heat sinks and radiator. So we'll see if that's something that is going to prove to be performance improvement on their fan. Obviously, they have their frame, their overall frame design, which includes this step-down version. The fan sits inside of the fan body down. Looks like that's about 5 levels down inside of the fan frame, and that's on the facing the fan. Then they also talk about these, I don't know if you can see along the rim of the fan here, there's little marks. There's a series of little indentations around the whole frame that they talk about, which is their inner surface microstructures. So it supposedly helps reduce the flow separation from the suction side of the blades. So that means it helps with noise basically and improves airflow. Integrated anti-vibration pads, so those are around the 4 corners. These pads are easy to be removed, but they are integrated to the fan to help reduce with transmitting any noise. And then it talks about the drive, which and the bearing of the fan is made of brass inside there. And this fan carries a 6 years manufacturer's warranty. So you do pay a pretty penny for these fans, but there's been a lot of design and a lot of improvements built over the years for these fans. So, but we'll see how well they do perform. And this is, again, it's a solid one body frame, and it's still, to me, it's a pet peeve, but I wish they would make these black too, not show any of the black, yellow, and red wires. I mean, if you're going to sleeve it, I don't think it's that much more difficult when you're manufacturing to sleeve it all the way up, but that's just a pet peeve of mine. Alright, so let me put the specs up on the screen here so that you can see better. And as far as I know, this is the only color that these fans come in. That's the trademark Noctua brown and beige. Alright guys, so what I've decided to do to give you some real world feel for how well these new fans sound and perform, what I've decided to do is baseline them against a couple of fans that have been around for a while or are popular. So General Typhoon, the 1850s, have been around for quite some time, and most notably I think Martin's Liquid Labs has did one of the first most extensive reviews that showed how well they perform, especially on Radiator. So that guy I'm going to use as a baseline, so we'll use him. And also since Corsair has come on the scene with fans, they've come out with some pretty good fans, and specifically these SP120s, they're static pressure fans for use on radiators and heat sinks. You know, are being used by a lot of people, so I thought that would be good too. So that's what I'm going to use in this testing. Now I will set them up so that you can hear them. First up, I'm going to do some audio, and that audio will be of each of these fans, all three of them, three of each of them on a radiator in a push configuration. And what I'll do is just cut to each one. You'll see the name of the fan on the screen, and you should be able to tell by the by sight of them as well who's who, and then you will be able to decide for yourself how well they sound. After that, I'll take you through the setup for testing and performance in a water cooling setup on a radiator, and then I'll show you the results at the end. So let's have a listen. Alright, so here's the test setup. What you're looking at is a Phobia bench table. It's an excellent test bench that I've been using for quite some time now, and I'll put a link up in there if you want to see the full review on it, but it is very flexible and met all my needs so far for testing. Basically what we have sitting on there is an EVGA X79 dark motherboard with an i7-3930K processor that has an EK Supremacy CSQ block on it. There's 32 gigabyte of Kingston Hyper Beast memory running at 2133. There's a reference GTX 680 GPU sitting on there, and the OS disk is 120 gigabyte Vertex 3. Now on the bottom of the bench you can see there's a BitPhoenix Recon fan controller. That's great because that's what I'm using to verify all of the speeds of the fans. And I also have the pump that's in there, that Alpha Cool 1U or 5 1/4 inch bay is being pumped by a DDC 1T pump. And then the radiator that I'm running these fans on is a Hardware Labs Black Ice SR1 360. So that's the radiator that these fans are being tested on. And I also have in there a Coolent's FM17 flow meter, so I can just get a gauge to see how well the flow is going on one of the settings. And then this is all being powered by an NZXT Hail 90 1000 watt PSU. Now what I'm going to do here, and for each of the test setups, is I'm going to run OCCT version 4.0, and I'm going to run it at 2 overclocks. One, I'm going to run it at a 4.0 overclock with 1.2 volts on that CPU. And the second overclock I'll be testing them at is at 4.5 with a voltage at 1.35 volts. I am going to run a ambient check with that general laser. So that'll give me an ambient reading here in the room that I'm running the test with. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run OCCT for 30 minutes and then let it cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'm going to do that 3 times. And then what I'm going to do is take the max temperature settings from each of the cores on all 3 runs and average them out, and I'll tell you then in a table how each of the fans performs at each of those overclocks. And then I'm going to also record the idles as well, and then I'll give you delta T. So I'll subtract the ambient temp from the idles at each of the overclocks to give you a delta T, and then I'm going to subtract the the overclock temp results from ambient to give you delta T. So that'll give you should give you a fairly good range of the performance of each of these fans, and then in a table you'll be able to compare them against all the other fans, the the SP120s from Corsair, and of course the General Typhoon 1850s. So to let you know, now right now on here I have the CoolerMasters that I'm testing right now. You can see the edges of them, but that's what's under test right now. And I'm going to go ahead and test them with the noise reduction adapters that bring their speeds down to whatever they have. Right now the CoolerMasters are running at 1200 RPM right now. So that's the ultra low noise setting for these, and then there's another adapter which will get it to 1600, and then the highest speed on the CoolerMaster are 2200. So you're going to get results for all 3 of those, in both the CoolerMasters and also the Noctuas. So here's a recap of the test bench and the methodology I used to test the fans here. You can pause it if you like to take a closer look. Now coming up now we have the 4.0 overclock results, and you'll notice the General Typhoon, the CM JetFlo at 1600 RPM, the Noctua at 1200 RPM are all within 2 degrees of each other, with the JetFlo at 2200 RPM being the lowest, but that also is extremely loudest. 4.5 overclock, basically the same thing. General Typhoon, CM JetFlo at 1600, and the Noctua at 1200, all within 1 to 2 degrees of each other, with the JetFlo at the lowest, but again it is the loudest. So let's wrap it up. So there you have it, guys. We have the Noctua NF-S12As compared to the CoolerMaster JetFlo 120s, using the Scythe General Typhoon 1850s and the Corsair SP120s as kind of a reference and baseline. Now, the General Typhoon have been around a long time, and as you can tell, they're still a high quality fan. The CoolerMaster JetFlos came in running at 1400, I think was the sweet spot. And again, remember that's with the low noise adapter. So that and the Noctuas running at 1200, their highest rated speed, compare pretty close to the General Typhoon. Now, when it comes to a fan, you got to deal with performance. So that's what we're looking at. But you also have to consider noise, and you want to get your results, and for me, at the lowest possible noise output. So really what you got to look at, for me, looking at those tables and running these tests, you have the General Typhoon with probably this, the consistent best reading, paired up against the Noctua running at 1200 RPM, and the CoolerMaster JetFlos running at 1400 RPM. I think those were all, in both overclocks, the closest in readings, maybe a degree and a half out, the range between the two. So, well, the next thing then is the noise, like I talked about. So what I'm going to do is right now, real quick, I'm going to run just those three. I'm going to let you listen to those in succession. The Noctua 1200, the CoolerMaster JetFlos at 1400, and the General Typhoon at the 1850. So you can have a listen to see which is the quietest to you. All right, so we'll be right back. So what did you think? You know, for me, you know, they're all pretty close. So after that, you know, as far as performance is concerned and sound being relatively the same, then it really comes down to, you know, looks and also, of course, cost. Now, looks-wise, you know, I'm not a big fan of the Noctua brown and beige. If I have builds that I can put them in that they're either the color scheme is close to that or works, or if it's in a chamber somewhere where you don't see it, then certainly those are good to go. The CoolerMaster JetFlos come in these various different colors. I showed you here just the dark ones, but they have them in blue and red and white, I believe. So you know, that's a pretty flexible fan. And then the other thing too to note is that the CoolerMaster JetFlos, you know, quite a wide range. They have the noise adapters, but you can get that fan running up to 2200 RPM. And now, you know, of course, that was the best reading. I didn't mention that, but certainly you got to deal with that noise. I mean, those things sound like a jet's taking off. So, you know, if you're okay with that, or you got headphones on and you don't care, hey, that's your call. You can. That was the best performing fan, but it also ran the highest RPMs as well. But there was a price for that you got to pay, you know. And then finally, cost. Cost on these fans, the cheapest of the fans is the Corsair, the SP120s at $14.95 at Performance PCs. And you have the CoolerMaster JetFlos and the General Typhoons coming in at $16.95. And then the most expensive of the lot is the Noctua NF-S12As, but they're at $27.95. So that's pretty hefty price to pay for fans, and based on at least my setup and my usage, you know, is it worth paying that much more for that fan? I think you're paying for a lot of engineering work that was been done, and there's no doubt that they're good fans, but that's pretty expensive. So now, as for a rating on the Ron's and Nut scale, I'm going to give the Noctua NF-S12A Flx Fans the 3 nuts. You know, cost, and again, looks is a matter of personal preference, but the cost for performance that you get out of these fans takes it down a notch. You know, again, so I give it 3 nuts. And then the JetFlos, I got to give them a 4. The price is right. The performance is very good, and the looks are good. So I like all those. Now, I would rarely hand out 5 nuts for a fan. I'm still looking for the holy grail of fans. Probably the closest that you have there is that General Typhoon. It's been consistent. It's been out for a long time, and it performs well. But it doesn't have the flexibility, I think, that the CoolerMaster has in this case. So I really do like the CoolerMaster fans. If you needed them for a case, you know, you can crank them up. And if you have a fan controller like this Recon back here that I was using, you can adjust them. Now, I ran them at the noise adapter levels so that you know, that's what you get in the box. So, but if you have a fan controller, you can crank them up, and maybe that performance and the sound out of that fan is going to be just right for you. So there's a little more flexibility, I think, with the CoolerMaster JetFlo. So surprisingly, you know, I thought that the Noctuas would have the winning grade out of all this, but based on my setup and the testing that I did, I think the CoolerMaster JetFlos wins in this this comparison with this roundup. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for you guys, and if it was, please like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's a Nut. Thanks for watching.